Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around Town. I'm Elizabeth Graff, and today we're here at Dino's Italian Restaurant, and I have with me Judge Harold McClendon, and he's going to tell us what's going on here today. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I was down in the judges conference earlier this summer and met some guys that were doing some volunteer work with the veterans, and the program sounded very interesting to me, so I have them down today to make a presentation before the Dublin Bar. And we are very excited about establishing Volunteer Lawyers Association for veterans at the VA hospital. We're very excited about it, and I think a lot of the lawyers are going to join up with us on that. In addition to that, we are contemplating starting a veterans court, and that's the thing, to not criminalize veterans, but put them in programs that may help them.
Right. And tell me why that is so important.
Well, it just makes no sense. If a person has an issue that can be handled with counseling, it will stop the recidivism rate. It cuts back on taxpayers' money. A lot of the programs we're going to be doing is helping people not lose their homes when they have financial problems. It's just a good program.
And we had quite a few speakers who were invited to come here today. Can you tell me some of them?
Well, I don't have a list right before me now, but we have the head of the Veterans Affairs section of the State Bar. We have several lawyers that have started programs like this. One of the lawyers that was here was the past clerk of the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. So he was here today, too.
Yeah, a lot of important people and making some wonderful decisions for Dublin. And tell me why it's so important to have that here in Dublin.
Well, they have started programs at the VA hospital and other parts of the state of Georgia, and Dublin is the crux of what they need now to finish up this program. We have the largest VA hospital here in this area, and certainly they want to get one here.
Yes, and so because we have the VA right here in Dublin, we have a lot of veterans who are going to need help.
Exactly right. We have people from all over the state of Georgia coming in for the services here from South Georgia, and as far as Augusta, because some services Augusta don't offer.
Yes. I really appreciate you bringing me here and witnessing what we have going on here. This is such a wonderful thing to helping those who have given their all for our country.
Exactly. And most of the time when veterans come in my court, it's things of just things that it's service connected. Actually, people having emotional problems and just maybe drinking and being in public. And some more serious issues, but not generally, and it's things that can be handled outside of the court situation.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you so much.
The President and the then Secretary of Veterans Affairs, about 5 years ago, said that the main goal was to end veterans' homelessness by 2015. As a part of that, they said, why are veterans homeless? So they surveyed the veterans, and they said, give us your 10 highest needs that are not being met that you think contribute to either being homeless or not being able to maintain employment, which leads to homelessness. The third reason, there were 3 in the top 10 that had to do with legal assistance. The first one was help with foreclosures and evictions. The 6th one was help with child support issues. And the 10th one, of all the unmet needs, not just legal needs, all of the needs, and the 10th one was help with warrants. So those 3 areas is something that we as attorneys can help with. The top 10, 3 of those, if we could just work on those 3, would contribute vastly to eliminating homelessness among our veterans. So as a part of that, we have asked the Secretary, the Bar Association, the National Bar Association, and all the state bars and local bars, we're asking to get involved and assist us in helping veterans by establishing these legal clinics at the VA medical centers. One of the reasons why we need to be at the VA Medical Center is because we want a one-stop shop. The veterans go there, they get their treatment, they hear, I can get this help as well, and they stop right there, and they can see the attorney right at the VA. So we are just so grateful. The Department of Veterans Affairs, the Office of Regional Counsel is just so grateful for your consideration of opening a legal clinic there in the Dublin VA. Also, as the Judge mentioned, with regard to the Veterans Treatment Courts, as you all know, Veterans Treatment Courts have gone a long way in assisting veterans from not just getting dumped in the jails, but to get them the medical and mental health treatment that they need so that they can stop that recidivism rate, get them the help so that they can lead productive lives, not contribute to the homelessness, and not contribute to the crowding of jails, that they can lead productive lives. So the VA is just so grateful.
Well, I am the Veterans Justice Outreach Coordinator for the Carl Benson VA Medical Center. So my role is to provide outreach to veterans who are incarcerated or at risk of incarceration for the medical center, and assist with other legal issues as far as referrals are concerned. So in regards to the free legal clinic that was presented today, my role would be to coordinate on the VA side the services that the veterans would be receiving. So we would get the referrals, and then we would also coordinate with staff to schedule the appointments with the appropriate attorneys.
Right.
A lot of veterans have a lot of issues, criminal issues and legal issues as far as on the civil side. So I think with the legal clinic, depending on if the attorneys are willing to work with them on civil issues, I know for myself, there isn't a whole lot that I can do. I prefer them to legal aid, but if we could get this resource in Dublin, I think that it will be a huge resource for the VA and the veterans at the VA, because a lot of times they don't have anyone to go to. They can't afford to pay for a private attorney to help with these issues, and they just don't know where to begin. And again, I can refer out to some resources, but again, the resources that I refer to, sometimes they can't help with those particular problems that they're having. So I think that it will help them with a plethora of issues.
We've got our eyes on Gainesville, Waycross, Rome, wherever there's a VA clinic. Ultimately, I think a local bar can be very supportive in donating time, as the bar is able to take the consults for the veterans as they come in. So we're delighted today, through the support of Judge McClendon, who heard my presentation down at the Judges Conference, to talk about the specifics of the clinic itself. It's very simple. It's on a walk-in basis. Hopefully we can get the appointment scheduled, done through Veteran Services, or through Volunteer Services, rather. So we've got an attorney sitting there at the right time when the person comes in. There's some waiver requirements. The attorneys are not acting as agents of the VA. They have to be very clear about that. And we want to make sure that you have no issues with your own E&O provider. But it's simply a half-an-hour consult, and it spans the globe for what walks in there. It's amazing. I enjoy it. As I tell people, it's kind of a walk-in bar exam, because you don't know what's coming through the door.
We have been asked to come down to Dublin to speak about an opportunity to create a legal clinic at the VA Medical Center in Dublin that would be supported by local attorneys. We've done this in the past at the clinic for clinic purposes, both in Atlanta and Decatur, as well as some of the local VA clinics. And what we do is we get the involvement of the local bar, in this case the Dublin bar, with attorneys that are willing to volunteer some time to sit down and take free consults with veterans that come in to the local VA hospital, and they might have a legal question. So it's our way, from the state bar perspective, of expanding the provision of legal services to Georgia's citizens. And in this case, we're targeting, we think, a group that, is very deserving of that. So we get the attorneys to donate a little bit of time, and typically they find they have a lot of fun doing it as well, helping veterans and their families with whatever legal issue they may be confronting. As a simple issue, The consult, typically run about a half an hour. If we can't get it resolved, we may have to refer them to somebody that can really take care of the matter with greater detail if a lot of work's involved. But a lot of time it's simply helping people help themselves, aiming them in the right direction and aiding them with whatever the issue might be. Because there's something different about a veteran. And the difference is a veteran was dislocated from that local support structure that you or I may have, where we grew up in the community and we have the extended family there around us all of our lives. No, veterans are a little different because they've been removed from society, put in different circumstances, and then brought back. And they may not have re-entered society where they entered the military. They may not have that family structure that's there to play, kind of the catcher's mitt for them. So we find that this is something we can do for the local veterans who may need a little extra support. And, if an attorney is willing to give that time, I think it's a pretty worthy cause.
La Quinta Inn & Suites is a proud member of the business community and the community at large. La Quinta is still #1, providing wonderful accommodations for residents and the professional community. Take advantage of La Quinta's large meeting room, business center, and all can enjoy a delicious breakfast while staying at La Quinta Inn & Suites of Dublin. Thank you to the business community and to everyone who wake up on the bright side. La Quinta Inn & Suites Managing Partner, Suresh Patel. Assistant General Manager, Dana Kinsler. Call La Quinta Inn & Suites at 272-3110 or log on to lq.com.
I specialize in military and civil service divorce cases. And then along came a couple of cases right after 9/11 where I began to see military parents who were losing custody of their children because they were being deployed. And after they deployed, they came back and their kids were gone. From Mexico, Philippines, Utah, Arizona, and they spent the next 5 years trying to get them back. And so everybody thought that such a result would just be absolutely impossible. What judge could do this? And I tell you what judges were doing it, the ones that sat on the Superior Court bench and the Juvenile Court bench. Because they said, look, we have to make decisions that are in the best interest of children. We could give a care about their parents. So the fact that someone stood up and took the challenge to lay their life down for their country meant nothing. And with the help of Drew Early, Norman Zoller, and others, we were able to get the state legislature of Georgia to pass the 2011 Georgia Military Parents' Rights Act. It passed through the House and the Senate with not one single negative vote. The governor signed it 2 days later and made it effective that day. And Georgia then took the lead in being one of the premier states in the country of protecting military veterans and active duty military people. Now, that was a no-brainer idea, but you know what? It took effort to get it into motion. Someone had to write the legislation, someone had to go to Atlanta, someone had to set the witness table like Drew Early did and talk about what it is like to be a commander in the field when you've got your service members getting letters from home that they've lost their children. That's what the Military and Veterans Law section does.
I want to talk first about the Military Legal Assistance Program. Back in 2008, a lawyer from Atlanta, who some of you know, his name is Jay Elmore, went on a Department of Defense visit to the Middle East and talked to commanders there about the situation that was then ongoing in Iraq and Afghanistan, and asked if there was anything that lawyers in Georgia could do to help those service members. He was told that there's service members who need legal help. Can you do something about that? He came back then and talked to his partner, who some of you all of you may know, Jeff Ramley. And Jeff really took that project on as one of his the items that he wanted to undertake as he became president of the State Bar of Georgia. It was decided that a military legal assistance program would be initiated. Questionnaires were sent out to lawyers. Would you be interested in providing legal help to service members and veterans? And we got responses back from 700 lawyers who said they would be willing to do that. That number now has been increased to 800. And there's some ebb and flow in that. So one of the things I say to you today is, if you're interested in providing legal assistance to service members and veterans, in addition to the one that we talked about thus far and we'll speak more about, a way to do that is to volunteer for the military legal assistance program. There's some eligibility criteria for that. Basically, we provide, and in a word, what I do in one sentence is I find lawyers for service members and veterans who need legal help. That's it in a nutshell. And as was pointed out, I get phone calls 6 or 8 or 10 every day. I get emails 6 or 8 or 10 or a dozen every day from service members, principally in Georgia, but indeed from throughout the world, because if you Google something like military legal assistance Georgia, the State Bar of Georgia's program and my name and phone number comes up typically first. So irrespective of where they may be stationed, if they have a case where jurisdiction is in a state or federal court in Georgia, we can help find a lawyer for them. And we do that for active duty service members, National Guard members, reservists, military retirees, on most all civil law issues.
All right, now I have Attorney Zoller here with me, and you came here all the way from Atlanta. That's right. And tell me what's going on here today. Why you have been invited to come here today?
Well, the State Bar of Georgia has assisted in recent years in helping establish legal clinics at the VA Medical Center. We've done this in Atlanta, at Decatur, in Augusta, Fort McPherson, Carrollton, and a large VA Medical Center here in Dublin.
Yes.
And we want to try to give information to the lawyers who live in this area to see if they would be willing to help provide legal assistance at that clinic. So we come and we met with the Bar Association and told them what we have done across the state in providing legal assistance to service members and veterans. And hopefully they will agree that, yes, we think we want to put a clinic here at Dublin and help us to do that. And we want to help do that, help bring that about.
Yeah. Now, the meeting, it's adjourned, but you had, and Mr. Drew had also volunteered to stay to answer questions. What kind of feedback did you get from those who attended here?
Well, good feedback. There were people there are lawyers who are here who have expressed interest that they do want to help with this.
Good.
And so a next step will be we'll want to come back in the future and meet with a few of them in Nucleus to kind of go over the nuts and bolts about how a clinic like this would be set up. We'll need to recruit additional lawyers to provide assistance on site for veterans who come to the center looking for legal help. So we can provide help on principally civil issues, but also on criminal law matters as well.
Okay. So right now you have, I believe you had told me it was 800 lawyers who are helping.
We have 800 lawyers across the state of Georgia who agreed to provide legal assistance to veterans and service members. It is remarkable. And handling VA cases takes a special accreditation through the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. And in Georgia, over the last 4 years, there were 160 lawyers who were doing this in 2010. We now have 620 lawyers, 4 times as many as we started with.
Wow.
So the lawyers are committed to this process.
And this is such a wonderful cause, too.
It's a noble cause.
Yes, exactly.
Lawyers do this because they want to do it, either because they may have been in the service and seen firsthand some of the issues, but also ones who were not in the service, but
and
still
they
recognize the need and they want to help, and do.
And you are retired, military. Tell me about your background.
Well, I spent 22 years in the military altogether. I had 15 years of active duty, 7 years of active duty, and served 2 tours in Vietnam back in the 60s, and then spent 15 years as an Army lawyer. And I'm doing Army legal work now for the State Bar of Georgia, and it's very rewarding, very beneficial.
So you know what it means to be able to have the service that you're providing, and why it's so important.
Well, when people contact me, I get a lot of phone calls every day, and with really only a few sentences, we're speaking the same language.
Yeah.
Which is important for them to know that there's a friendly ear on the other side of the phone.
Especially someone who's been there, done that, and understands.
That's great.
I thank you so much for what you've brought here to Dublin.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate your helping spread this word throughout the community.
Yes, sir. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you next time on Around Town.